Hi students, welcome back. Hope all are fine at home, preparing for competitive exams. See, in the previous videos I gave many reactions which are at equilibrium, like N2 gas plus 3H2 gas giving 2NH3 gas, or SO2 gas plus O2 gas giving 2SO3 gas, H2 gas plus I2 gas giving 2HI gas, calcium carbonate solid decomposing and giving calcium oxide solid plus carbon dioxide gas, CH3 COO CH3 methyl acetate which is liquid plus water, again the liquid giving CH3 COOH acetic acid plus what, plus CH3COH. These are the one set of examples. Again, I gave that when I explained the effect of concentration etc. Fe3 plus SCl minus ion which is in equilibrium with Fe SCl with 2 plus charge. Oh, I'll give one more example. NH3 plus water giving NH4 plus OH minus. So what the difference here also here? One thing you may say, sir, in the first three only gas was there. Here solid and the gas is there, liquid is there. That is a different case. I ask this set of example and this set of example, what is the difference? See, in this molecules are involved. Entire in this, you see, molecules are involved in equilibrium. Whereas, just see, in this example, if you see, only the ions are there at equilibrium. And we call this type of equilibrium as ionic equilibrium. Equilibrium involving the ions. And we can give plenty of examples for this ionic equilibrium also. Plenty of examples. So, we'll study the important things. So, we'll study the concept of ionic equilibrium. So, when I study this, I should know what is the meaning of an electrolyte, what is the meaning of a non-electrolyte, what is the meaning of an acid. Again in acid, different definitions given by different scientists, Arrhenius, Bronsted and Lowry, Lewis acid and base theory. Different concepts are there. One by one we'll study this. You take a beaker, to this add water first. Then add the sugar. So what I get? Here I get sugar, aqueous solution. Is it going to conduct electricity? The sugar, when dissolved in water, do not conduct electricity. Urea in water do not conduct electricity. Now, what I do is, I take a salt in a beaker. Salt means table salt I will take, NaCl. NaCl salt I will take. And remember, salt means not only NaCl, KCl also salt only, barium chloride also salt only, barium sulfate also salt only. One acid radical, one basic radical should be there. Only salt. Is it going to conduct electricity? No. See, NaCl or the KCl or barium chloride etc. they are ionic only. Still, they do not conduct electricity. See, NaCl or KCl etc. which are the salt, they are ionic in nature only. Still, they are not conducting the electricity in the solid states. Now, what I do is, I will take a copper wire. What about that? Copper wire conduct the electricity in the solid state itself. Whereas, this NaCl etc. will not conduct the electricity in the solid state. So, this copper wire is called as conductor. The substances which conduct the electricity in the solid state itself, that is a conductor. And it is a metallic conductor also. Whereas NaCl is not conducting the electricity in the solid state. Now what I do? What I do is, to this salt I will add the water. What I get? I get NaCl aqueous solution. Or instead of water addition, making it aqueous solution, what I do is, I will heat it and convert this NaCl as molten NaCl. Is it going to conduct electricity now? Yes. In the molten state or aqueous solution, this NaCl conduct the electricity, not in the solid state. Such substances which conduct electricity in the molten or aqueous solution are called as electrolytes. Solid state, no conductivity. Molten or aqueous also no conductivity. Sugar, etc. They are not the electrolytes. They are the non-electrolytes. Copper, solid state itself the conductivity is there, so conductor. NaCl etc. No conductivity in the solid state, only conductivity in the molten or aqueous solution, they are the electrolytes. Now, question may arise in your mind. Sir, sugar is not conducting because it is not a ionic compound. But NaCl is an ionic compound, so there is a Na plus and the Cl minus no. So, this Na plus and the Cl minus should have moved to the opposite electrodes when the current is passed. So, they should have conducted electricity, no? But why they are not conducting electricity in the solid state? See, in the solid state, this Na plus or the Cl minus ions are fixed to the lattice point. They are fixed to the lattice point over there. When they are fixed to the lattice point, they are not free to move. See, I can move anywhere. If my hands are tied with a rope to window, etc., can I move? No. Like that only, there is a existence of ions in the solid state itself for the NaCl, but these Na plus or the Cl minus ions are fixed to the lattice point. They are not free to move. So, in the solid state, no conductivity will be there. But when heated, what happened there? See, this is the lattice point, you say. This is Na plus. Heated, we know there is a natural expansion property, so this will quite enough. From this, Na plus will easily going out. Or say here, Na plus is fixed to the lattice point, you say, and you are dissolving in the water. Water is polar in nature. Again we say, this is Na plus ion, you say, it is fixed to the lattice point. And this is Cl minus ion, which is fixed to the lattice point, you see. They are fixed to this lattice point, so they cannot move. Because here, in the metallic conductor, conductivity is due to free ions or mobile ions. Whereas in the electrolyte, conductivity is due to free ions. Na plus ion, Cl minus ions are fixed here. Now, when I add the water and make this one as aqueous solution, water is polar in nature. Water contains positive and negative edge. So what the water do now? See, this is Na plus. The negative end of the water, when approach this Na plus ion, what they do? They attract that one from the lattice point and make them free. So this is Na plus ion, you say. This is negative end of the water attracted. So we get Na plus removed from the lattice point and this ion get hydrated also and they are moving. They are free from this now lattice point. When they are free from the lattice point, they can move. CO, this is Cl minus. There is a positive end also in the water because it's polar. So this is positive end of the water, you see. So it attracted Cl minus and make them free. And now Na plus also free, Cl minus also free. They can start conducting. This is Cl minus, you see. This is positive end of the water. Negative positive, we get it. Hydration also. It is completely get hydrated also. And what we call them as ion dipole interaction. Ion dipole interaction. So with this, they start conducting the electricity. Substances conduct electricity in solid state itself. They are the conductor. Many examples I can give. Many metals, they are conductors only. Iron, copper, etc. They are all conductors. Whereas substances which conducts electricity in molten or aqueous solution only, not in the solid state, they are called as electrolytes. Example: NaCl, HCl, H2SO4, etc. Or sodium hydroxide, then NH4OH. This is all electrolyte only. Now, in case of solid state no conductivity, what do you call them? We call it as an insulator. Whereas the term which is equivalent to insulator in the electrolyte is the non-electrolyte. Substances which do not conduct electricity even in molten or aqueous solution, it is non-electrolyte. Example: sugar, glucose, urea. This will not conduct the electricity even in the molten or aqueous solution also. So it is a non-electrolyte. Now, what is the difference between this conductor and electrolyte? Differences. First one is the definition. You write down the definition, that will become difference only. In the solid state itself they conduct, whereas only in the aqueous or the molten state they conduct. Second one, CO, in the conductor, free electrons are responsible for conduction. Whereas here, the electrolyte is not the free electron, free ions are responsible for conduction. Third main difference is, see, in case of the conductor, as the temperature increases, conductivity decreases. Conductivity decreases with increase of temperature. Increase of temperature. Why? As the temperature increases, resistance to the flow of current increases. When the resistance increases, then definitely the conductivity should decrease only, because resistance to the flow of current increases with increase of temperature. Whereas in the electrolyte, as the temperature increases, there is a more and more ionization. Number of ions going to be increased. Means as temperature increases, ionization increases and conductivity increases. Note down this properly. Now, when you see, there are plenty of acids, plenty of bases, plenty of salts also. Our stomach contains hydrochloric acid with a pH of 1.2 etc. It's an acid only. Oh, lemon, tamarind. This all contains the acids. So plenty of acids and bases will be there. Even the salts also. See, the name acid was given from Latin word acidus. If you see or if you taste the acid, they have sour taste. And in the Latin, acidus means sour taste only. From that, the acid word was introduced. See, natural acquaintance, say vinegar, they are having acetic acid. Or I mentioned gastric juice contains here, lemon contains citric acid, tamarind paste they contain the tartaric acid, orange contains the ascorbic acid also. So plenty of acids are there. And already know salts many. Without any cell, no taste. So plenty of salts also there. Now, how to identify that is it an acid or a base? What to do is, take the given thing, take the given and immerse blue litmus paper and if blue turns into red, blue color turns into red, then it is acid. If the blue is not turning, it is not an acid. And if the base is there, then put the red litmus. If the red litmus changes into the blue, it is base. Blue to red acid, red to blue it is base, and many acid on reaction with the metal liberate dihydrogen also. Example, magnesium with the dilute HCl, I get magnesium chloride plus dihydrogen gas liberation. Meaning, zinc plus dilute sulfuric acid, I get zinc sulfate and dihydrogen. I am not saying that every metal will displace the dihydrogen. Zinc plus dilute sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate plus dihydrogen gas liberation. But this is not true with the copper with dilute sulfuric acid. Already mentioned in the redox reaction. So I didn't say acid will displace the dihydrogen when we react with every metal, but many metals they displace the dihydrogen, as well as blue litmus will turn into the red color also. That is acid. Now, when an acid is reacted with a base, what I get? Acid with a base, I am going to get a salt. Example, HCl is an acid plus sodium hydroxide is a base. I am going to get NaCl salt along with the water molecule. Salt and water will be formed. Okay, so acid on a reaction the base gives a salt. Get solution acid plus ammonia is a base, we get ammonium chloride salt also. Okay. Now, what are the properties of the acid? First one, sour taste. If you taste it, it is of the sour taste. Second one, blue litmus paper turn into red color. Third one, dilute acid reacts with active metal like zinc, magnesium, etc., and liberate dihydrogen. Example, already mentioned zinc plus sulfuric acid, I am going to get zinc sulfate plus dihydrogen gas liberation. See, already I discussed certain properties of an acid. Now see what are the properties, certain properties of bases also. Litmus paper test. What will happen there? Red litmus paper turn into blue, then it is base. If blue turns into red, it is acid. Second one, see, with respect to the taste, bitter taste will be there. Now, when potassium hydroxide is there, treated with the sulfuric acid, what happens then? This is a base, it neutralizes the sulfuric acid, giving K2SO4 and the water molecule. Means neutralizes the acid, giving salt and water. Next one, see if we touch a basic solution, the solution of a base, it will be having a soapy touch. The aqueous solution of a base has soapy touch. This is another property of this. This is the another property of the bases. See, to explain which is an acid, which is a base, etc., different concepts are there to tell that which is an acid, which is a base. First one is Arrhenius concept or Arrhenius theory of acid and bases. Second one is Bronsted and Lowry concept of acid and bases. Third one is Lewis theory of acid and bases. Why needed meaning? Arrhenius said these are acid, etc., but drawback was there. Demerits were there. Means the whatever definition given by Arrhenius could not explain every acid or a base. So then Bronsted and Lowry, they gave their expression for acid and bases, or they put forward their theory of acid and bases. Almost with this acid there was a almost similarity with the Bronsted also. Then in the Bronsted Lowry also there was a drawback or demerits. So Lewis gave another theory of an acid and a basis. So first you see Arrhenius theory of acid and a basis. See, HCl is there. You put into the water, what it gives? HCl aqueous solution. But in the aqueous solution, HCl will start giving H plus and the Cl minus. The substances which produces the H plus ion when dissolved in water, they are all called as acids. See, HCl dissolved in water gave aqueous HCl, which will spontaneously ionizes to give H plus and Cl minus, and is producing the H plus ion. Acid. Take this H2SO4 aqueous means when dissolved in water, they start giving 2H plus SO4 2 minus. Again, what happened here? H plus is produced in the water when dissolved in water. CH3 COOH acetic acid dissolved in water and get aqueous acetic acid. And when dissolved in water, they start giving CH3 COO minus and the H plus ion. So this is all called as an acid. Arrhenius acid also. A acid is Arrhenius acid. Okay. Now see, sodium hydroxide dissolved in water, we get aqueous, and they start giving Na plus and the OH minus. Barium hydroxide, they give barium 2 plus plus 2OH minus. AlOH thrice gives Al3 plus plus 3OH minus. Ammonia hydroxide gives NH4 plus and the OH minus. What is common here? OH minus, OH minus, OH minus. What is common here? H plus, H plus, H plus. And these are all called as Arrhenius bases. How? The substances if donate or if it produces OH minus. OH minus is called as the hydroxyl ion. OH minus ion or the hydroxyl ion when dissolved in water, that is called as the basis. And Arrhenius theory take the consideration of the aqueous solution. Therefore, Arrhenius theory has the limited application also. We cannot explain each and every acids, or we cannot explain each and every basis through Arrhenius theory. So there are drawbacks. One thing is that if they can donate the H plus or the OH minus, I can say that okay, this is acid, this is a base. So certain merits are there, but demerits also there. It is copper sulfate. It is acidic. AlCl3 acidic. These are all acid only, or acidic only. Then CaO, basic. See, this cannot produce any H plus ion. This cannot produce any H plus ion. Still it's an acid. There are drawbacks in this Arrhenius theory. So, next theory, that is Bronsted and the Lowry theory was put forward. Bronsted. The next one is Bronsted, Lowry theory of acid and base. See, according to the Bronsted or Lowry, little modification was done from the Arrhenius theory of an acid. See, H plus is similar to a proton only. So, instead of saying H plus donor or the OH minus donor, what the Bronsted and Lowry said is proton donor will be the acid, proton acceptor will be the bases. So, according to this, proton donor acid, proton acceptor bases. Note it properly. Example, HCl dissolve in water is it. See, in the water, HCl will ionize as H plus and Cl minus. And remember there is a lone pair of electron on this. Non-bonding electron will be there on the oxygen. So what they do is they take out this H plus ion to give H3O plus ion or H2O H plus ion. And this H3O plus ion is known as hydronium ion. So what is the hydronium ion? C. Organization H plus is similar to a proton and is a water. So I can say protonated water. First definition, protonated water. It is hydronium ion. Or this is a proton. Water is there. Hydration is there. So or B, hydrated proton, or it is H2O that is hydrating the H plus ion. So another definition is hydrated H plus ion. This is called as hydronium ion. Note of this, hydronium ion. And in this H3O plus, there is a one coordinate bond also. There is covalent bond also. Coordinate bond will be there with the lone pair of electron of oxygen with the H plus ion. That is a coordinate bond. Whereas H and O, they have a remaining, they have a covalent bond also. O, H, H. These are all covalent bond. This is coordinate bond also. Okay. So hydrated proton. Now see here, what is happening here? H plus, which is similar to proton, is donated to this. And by the donation, what happened there? This water has taken that H plus ion, which is a proton there, which is similar to proton. So, proton is donated, so it is acid plus we get Cl minus. Proton is donated over there, the example only. HCl plus water. This will be H plus and the Cl minus in there. So, HCl is donating a proton to this. So, HCl became an acid because of proton donor. What is doing here? It is taking the proton, so it is a base. Water is taking this, accepting the proton. So, proton donor is acid, proton acceptor is a base. I'll give one more example, just try. NH3 react with the water, dissolve in water. Use NH4 plus OH minus. So how it is? Let's see. NH3. What I write as H plus and OH minus also, giving NH4 plus and now OH minus this here. What happens here? Lone pair of electron is around the nitrogen, so it takes up this H plus. That by becoming NH4 plus. Leave to OH plus. So ammonia is accepting the proton, H plus ion, so it is base. Water is donating the proton, so an acid. So proton donor, proton acceptor. With this, the Bronsted and Lowry concept is explained. Now, I'll give some example. Just see that. HCl in water gives H3O plus Cl minus. NH3 plus water gives NH4 plus OH minus. CH3 COOH acetic acid plus water gives CH3 COO minus plus H3O plus. See these examples. See, take this HCl and the Cl minus into the consideration. Or water and the H2O plus consideration. In this case, ammonia and ammonium ion, water and hydroxyl ion, acetic acid and acetate ion, water and hydronium ion. So what you find there? What is the difference between HCl and Cl minus there? HCl and the Cl minus differ by what? See, for the Cl minus, if one H plus is added, I get a HCl over there. Or H2O, other side I have a H3O plus, which is H2OH plus only, means this one and this one differ by H plus ion. This also differ by H plus ion. So HCl and Cl minus differ by H plus ion. Water and H3O plus also differ by H plus ion. NH3 and NH4 again H plus ion difference. CH3COH and CH3CO minus H plus difference. See, such pairs, two in number, which differ by a proton, they are called as conjugate acid base pair. Pair of acid and a base which differ by a proton. Just here, HCl is donating a proton to the water, thereby becoming the Cl minus. So here is a proton donor, it is an acid. So I write it as acid 1. And what happens here? Water is accepting the proton donated by the Cl, so it is a base 1. Now what happens here? H3O plus actually can give 1 H plus, thereby becoming H plus and a water. Means H3O plus can donate a proton, so it is acid 2. And Cl minus can take a H plus, so it is a base 2. These are called as conjugate acid base pairs. CH3 COOH plus water giving CH3 COO minus and the H3O plus. Tell me, which is the conjugate acid base pair? Acetic acid and acetate ion. Only H plus is difference. So, one acid base pair, H2O and the H2O plus, again one H plus difference is there. So, another acid base pairs. So, if it is acid 1, this will become the base 1. This is becoming base 2. This is acid 2. Here H3O plus can donate H plus to this. Now NH3 plus water giving NH4 plus OH minus. See, this has 1 H plus difference. NH3 same. So NH4 plus can be written as NH3 H plus also. So 1 H plus difference. What again? Here again 1 H plus difference. Here again 1 H plus difference. So NH3 and NH4 plus are one conjugate acid base pair. Water and OH minus also one more conjugate acid base pairs. So base 1 you see. Why? It is accepting the proton given by the water. So it is acid 1. Now here ammonium ion can donate H plus ion to the OH minus. So it is acid 2. This is base 2. So, pair of an acid and a base which differ by a proton, that is called as conjugate acid base pairs. Now, question can be like this. We will write like this: HS minus. You may have to write conjugate acid of HS minus or conjugate base of HS minus. See here. If HS minus is an acid, here properly. If HS minus is an acid, to write its conjugate base. Conjugate bases. Now you are right. What to do is remove one H plus ion. So one H plus is removed. So what remains is yes. Minus of plus 1 is minus 1. Already minus 1 is here. Means minus 2. Now, H2S is an acid. You have tried its conjugate base, you see. Remove one H plus. There are two H. H2 is 2 H there. Now it becomes only one H. One H is removed. Yes. No charges here. Minus or plus 1 is minus 1. So H is minus. NH3 is an acid, you see. Its conjugate base, you are right. Remove one H plus. 3 hydrogen was there. So now becomes NH2. Minus or plus 1 is minus 1. So minus 1 charge. HSO4 minus is an acid. I have written conjugate base. Remove one H plus. So this is gone. SO4 minus 2 because minus 1 is already there. Again minus 1 plus 1 is minus 1. H2SO4. Again acid. Remove H plus. What was that? SO4 minus. SO4 image like that only. One H plus is removed, minus 1 there. So HSO4 minus. H2CO3, carbonic acid. Remove H plus. I get HCO3 minus. HCO3 minus is an acid, you say. Remove H plus. Become CO3 2 minus. This is how to write conjugate base of an acid. Now, how to write the conjugate acid if the bases are given out? Conjugate acid of a base. CO. HS minus is a base, we say. I have to write its conjugate acid. When a base is given, to write its conjugate base acid, when a base is given, to write its conjugate acid, add one H plus, add one proton. So what was it? Already one H was there. Another H means it becomes H2. Yes. Minus 1 plus 1. Cancel. No charges. Now take this example. S2 minus is a base. It's a conjugate acid, you are right. Add one H plus. Nothing was there. So it becomes HS. Minus 2 plus 1. Minus 1 will be there. CO3 2 minus is base. It's the conjugate acid, you are right. Add H plus. So HCO3 minus 2 here plus 1 means minus 1. HCO3 minus is a base, right? It's acid and again H plus. H2CO3. SO4 2 minus, add H plus. Here comes HSO4 minus, this is base, this is acid. So if the acid is given out, remove one proton or H plus. If the base is given out, add one H plus or proton. One proton or one H plus. And remember, adjust the charges also. Now see here, I'll give one more example now. You have to tell me what you find there. See, Na3 plus water gives NH4 plus OH minus. What happened here? Ammonia has accepted a proton, that's why it became NH4 plus. So ammonia was a base. Water was an acid because it is donating a proton, H plus. Now, HCl plus water gives H3O plus and Cl minus. See, HCl is donating a proton to the water, so it is an acid. And the water is accepting the proton, therefore it is Cl, so it is a base. See? What is that? What is that? See, water. But in one reaction, water is acting as an acid. In another reaction, it is acting as a base. Such substances are called as amphoteric substances. Substances which can act as a both acid and a base. Not in the same reaction, in a different. Say, just writing HCl plus water, then HCl base, water acid. This will not hold good, giving H3O plus base, Cl minus acid, etc. This will not hold good. Just writing is not important. See, in this is, yes, okay, this is also correct, but this is wrong. So just writing is not important. Same substances, if they can act as an acid as well as a base, then it is called as the amphoteric substances. Zinc oxide, you see, or Al2O3, alumina. These are all amphoteric oxides only. Like that only, the water is an amphoteric substances. H2O plus H2O, because there are plenty of water molecules. And you see, lone pair of electron will be there. H2O plus H plus OH minus, I can write these water molecules. Lone pair of electron is there. So this can take that. Thereby what I can get? H3O plus OH minus. Water has the autoprotonation property also. Self-protonation property is there for the water. And remember, this water molecule is accepting the proton, so it is a base here. And this water molecule is donating the H plus of the proton, is an acid. Self-protonation or autoprotonation property will be there. No need to be protonated by something else. One water molecule can get the H plus from the another water molecule. Or one water molecule can give the H plus to another water molecule. Means one water molecule can donate a proton to another, or water molecule can take the proton from another. self or auto protonation will be there. HCl is an acid. Cl minus is its conjugate base. HCl is a strong acid only. It's a strong acid. Which one? HCl. Why is it strong? See, in the electrolyte, there is a strong electrolyte, there is a weak electrolyte also. See, HCl, when dissolving water, they almost 100% ionize in solution. 100% ionization. Or I can write lines of HCl plus water. I will get H3O plus Cl minus. No HCl, almost 100% HCl will be going to this form or this form. Such substances which ionize completely in solution are called as strong electrolyte. Take this example, CH3COOH. When dissolving water, they give this CH3COO minus and the H plus or H2 plus. But this ionization is to the less extent, majority of the acetic acid remains as acetic acid molecules only, not the acetate ion, not the acetate ion. So these are called as weak electrolyte. Sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide, when dissolving water, they complete ionizers to you Na plus and OH minus. Whereas ammonium hydroxide gives partially only the NH4 plus and the OH minus. Majority remains like this only. So it's a weak base, whereas it's a strong base. Strong electrolyte also. Strong acid, strong bases are the strong electrolyte also. Weak acid or the weak bases are the weak electrolyte also. So, if the bases are completely ionizing in solution, then it's a strong base. Partially, it is weak base. HCl is a strong acid, and Cl minus is its conjugate base. Why Cl is a conjugate base? Because it is for the proton expression. Remember, if acid is strong, note this. If acid is strong, its conjugate base will be weaker. Note this. Strong acid, then base will be weaker. If weak acid is there, its conjugate base will be stronger. And remember, for the strong acid, dissociation constant Ka will be high. K is the dissociation constant, is high. Whereas its conjugate base will be weaker. For this, dissociation constant base will be written as Kb will be low. Note of this problem. For the strong acid, Ka will be high and its conjugate base Kb will be low. And if we go with the pKa will be low for strong acid, whereas conjugate base will have the pKb high. Note it properly. Ka will be high for the strong acid, pKa will be low for strong acid. Kb will be low for, Kb will be less for weak bases, pKb will be high for weak bases. Note it properly. Competitive exam, they may give the values and they may say, among this which is the strongest acid, among this which is having the strongest conjugate base. Or they may give 3 acid, they may ask you to arrange their conjugate bases in the descending order, ascending order. Or they may give 3 acid, they may give the values of pKa, which is the strongest acid. Such questions can be asked in the competitive exams. NH3 is a base, it's a weak base. Which is its conjugate acid? Add H plus ion. What I get will be there, it means 4 plus will be the conjugate acid. As base is weak, its conjugate acid is stronger. So this have low Kb value, whereas this will have high Ka value. This have high pKb value, whereas this have low pKa value. Note it properly. As strong acid, high Ka value, low pK value, weak base, low Kb value, high pKb value. Now take an example. Acid A, B, C and the D has Ka value of 4 into 10 to the power minus 3, 2 into 10 to the power minus 5, 1 into 10 to the power minus 2 and 4 into 10 to the power minus 5. Arrange the acid in the descending order of acid strength. Arrange the acids in descending order of acid strength. So what do you do? Highest acidity should be written first. See the Ka value which is highest you see. 1 into 10 to the minus 2 is the highest. So 1 into 10 to the minus 2 is therefore the C. So C highest greater than. After 1 into 10 to the minus 2 we have 4 into 10 to the minus 3. E. Then we have, you see 4 into 10 to the minus 5, 2 into 10 to the minus 5 is higher. D. Then the D. If you are asked to write or if you are asked to arrange their conjugate bases, the order of basic strength of the conjugates, bases of A, B, C, D, then it is B greater than D greater than A greater than C. Why? Acid is stronger, its conjugate base will be weakest. That concept you have used. Acid is weakest, so its conjugate base is strongest. Drawback of Bronsted and Lowry concept of acid base theory. First one is CH3. BF3. Why it's an acid? I cannot explain because it will not donate any proton. AlCl3. Why is an acid? I cannot. CaO. Why is a base? I cannot. So certain drawbacks also there. Merit. I can explain the amphoteric nature of the substances. And anything which donate the proton and which accept the protons, I can explain why it's acid, why it's a base. Amphoteric substances like the water, we can explain. Because water has the capacity to donate the proton, accept the proton also. I can explain. But BF3, why is an acid? No explanation. CaO, why is a base? No explanation. HCl can be called as Arrhenius acid as well as Bronsted acid also. Because this gives H plus ion, so it is Arrhenius acid. HCl will donate a proton to the water and that by becoming H2O plus and Cl minus. So it's a Bronsted acid also. HCl or the sulfuric acid etc. They are all Bronsted acid as well as the Arrhenius acid also. But sodium hydroxide is a Arrhenius base but not the Bronsted base. The Lewis concept I will explain in the next video. Until that, bye bye.